All right, there we go. Now we back.
Sweet.
That's what happened when you start talking about the church, bro.
It's
You shut it down.
dangerous territory.
Yeah.
I just don't think people talk about it enough.
No, I mean, I don't know if people are scared. I don't know what the reason is. I think it might be mainly more pain, hurt, or like confusion, distress. I don't know. But
yeah, you got to get over that. But don't let it happen again. You know.
Yeah. But yeah. So, mega church. Start working in mega churches. Start creating for mega churches. Then off to Hillsong for 2-3 years. And then back working for a mid-sized church, growing.
Yeah.
Finally, developing a real friendship with some people, and then it all comes crashing and burning because of freedom and ability and choices. But yeah, that's kind of the whole simple thing. I know it's a lot in there, but starting from working and going to Australia and then back home and working again.
I think that's what I was looking for. Is kind of a brief summary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying that I know we were saying it before, but I don't have an angst against the church. That's not really where I'm headed, because I think after time and studying and maturity and not really understanding about religions, what it is, I see why certain things happen. So I see that there's positivity in a lot of things. I see there's negativity in a lot of things, but I don't know why it kind of gets all consumed as like church, So I don't have necessarily like, oh, church is bad, oh, church is good, or I'm deconstructing, or I'm all this stuff that people kind of use, and I know they want to use, John Piper, and they got their thoughts and theologies and all that stuff. So I kind of say, forget all that, forget it all. Let's throw it all away for 1 second. And if you're not afraid to do that, and just ask some basic questions, because we get, church stuff gets lost in the sauce. It's designed that way, So that's my whole spiel with, my involvement in church.
What are some? Okay, say there's somebody listening that's like, I'm in church world deep right now, but there's some things that might be a concern, or it's just not fulfilling everything. What are those basic questions that you're talking about? I don't know if we want to spend a lot of time on that, but
no, you mean like a staff person, or like someone just going to church? That's
just a variety of people. You said there's some basic questions you have to ask yourself. What would those basic questions be?
Yeah, question number 1: are you relying on the church for your income, for your livelihood?
Ow. Ooh.
All right. That changes your decision making. Right there.
100%. I think that's good right there.
Straight up. Boom. And if you're afraid to admit that, that's a problem. If you're afraid to be honest about it, that's a problem. If your livelihood comes to church, you should be able to say that and be straight up about it, Because
did you just work for a church for a year?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I work for church. I don't even know right now.
Professionally. Money.
Money. Yeah, professionally. Like this is not volunteering, on staff.
Paid.
Being paid. Pastoral certification.
Yes, sir.
All those things. Man, I gotta think back. Because even in college, when I started, before college, I started working in youth.
Oh yeah.
So I don't even know how many years that is. More than 7, more than 10. Yeah. And even when I went to Australia, I was working at Hillson Conference.
12?
So, I don't even know, bro. I have to count it. I don't feel like counting it. But so,
no biggie. It's not super important.
Yeah.
I just want
definitely more than 10. Definitely 100% more than 10. Probably 15. I think.
I mean, it's kind of. I mean, that's the word for the person that's out there that's like, you know,
okay.
4 or 5 years. I just want to make sure people know you're not a baby in this. Like, that's tenure, bro. Like that's a big.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long.
Yeah. It was a lot, bro. I mean, it kind of helped me realize a lot of things. I have time to sparse it out. I've seen a whole bunch of stuff, but yeah, I would tell the first question is: you got to be able to admit if you're getting paid, that's your income or your source of income, your livelihood. That's the second thing is anybody getting hurt. All right, and I don't care what kind of hurt you're talking about: physical, mental, spiritual. Is anyone getting hurt? And you can see it.
Tired on a volunteer team ever?
That's hurt. That's
it's going to happen once in a while, but if you see it on a consistent basis, you're talking like if you could see it on a consistent basis and it's encouraged.
Yeah. I think that sometimes younger people, they don't realize it because they're young. But I think if you're older and you realize it, because sometimes when you're younger, you don't realize like a person serving, what they have to go through and then also serve. You can't really calculate it because you might be involved. You're like, why is everybody tired? But someone who has a little bit more maturity and they see it, and it's not like one run, but hey, you got to ask for people being hurt, in one way. And then the other side is though, all right, Nate. The other side is sometimes people. There's people who love it, and that's a part of it. It's their whole life. So,
that's a fact.
All right. So I don't want to ask a negative question. I'll tell the positive side too. And then the next thing is the highest. What I think is, do you see a crime? All right. There's laws, and if there's crime, and you see it, there's stealing. You shouldn't steal. That's a crime. Not just the biblical one. If you break any law, you see or know. I think those are the basic questions of like harm that you shouldn't participate in. And if you do, you're agreeing to participate in it. So that's the lowest level, on the scale of questions I would ask, like about humanity in church.
I mean, I guess this kind of goes with, are you getting hurt or seeing hurt? But I think something to kind of add too is like, how much time is it taking away from, if I may, like how much time is it taking away from accomplishing the things in your life? Because we both believe like, if you believe the religion, God loves you. God cares about you. He doesn't need your time and your energy. If you want to give some and you have an abundance, that's great. But if your family's struggling and you're not providing for them and all your time and effort and money is going in there, is that happening? I think that's a good question to ask too.
Oh, yeah. Is that happening? The answer to that is yeah, of course it's happening. And, people don't like
this. Yeah, sorry.
No. I think people don't like talking about it, but yeah, of course.
Am I stronger, or weaker because of this? Despite how much I like it, is this organization making me stronger or weaker?
See, this is the tricky, beautiful part about this whole thing. For someone, yes, and for someone, no, because in certain circumstances, there are families who are strong from doing this thing together. They all love it.
Oh,
they may not be getting paid the most, but they're making it, and it might be
a yes for them.
It'd be a yes for them. Like, this is great. I get paid to do something I love every day. They can do it for 50 years.
Oh, I've seen that.
And be covered in every way, and have a group, have a community that's protecting them. And so the answer to that is yes on one scale. But then on the other scale is like, the answer is no, because there's some people who not get paid enough to put food on the table, to live in the area that they live in, while the church is at a high thriving place. To me, it doesn't make any just normal moral sense. Like, If you have a staff, your staff shouldn't be suffering especially if your church is thriving.
Yeah.
And that's what me understanding the accounting part of it, the finance part of it, it changes how you see things. I'm not saying anyone's forced to be there, but there is some deep rooted like psychological holding if you've been going to this church since you were a kid. This is what you know and what you believe is right, and you want to help the world and you want to do something positive. So to say like, look, you can get paid nothing because you're helping the world, Craig.
Yeah.
That's kind of how, there's that yes and no.
Yeah.
You top flight skill of the world, Craig.
Oh, I knew a Greg in church. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
a couple of them.
Well, so yeah, but I think that my problem is that like for the family that's yes, I don't have a problem. I have a problem with the other family that might speak up and say, oh, we struggling. We only making $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then the answer is like, oh, we ain't got a budget, but we got lasers.
Lasers can be tight though, bro.
Hey, you need a laser, bro. If you got lasers, then that should be helping your team thrive. That's when I don't have a problem. Like if you got lasers and the lasers bringing in and helping the community, and you can make enough to make sure your staff is good, have 5 lasers, have whatever you want, But
yeah, I totally agree.
That's the yes and no. So, I don't know. I don't know what direction you. It's so many directions, but oh dang,
It's a pothole.
Oh.
That's a genuine Beaverton pothole right there.
Hey, shook the whole. Dang, shook the whole van, bro.
Don't worry, roads department. I'll pay for that.
The church should start too. The church should start a pothole ministry.
Yeah.
You want people to love you? Hey, let's do the video. Hey, Graceland Church, we're gonna be filling potholes all over the city. Man, the city will love you for that, man. Anyway, sorry.
Oh yeah.
And we giving out free church marketing. Anyway.
You're welcome.
Yeah. If you take that idea, I bet it worked. Anyway.
Oh, there's probably already a church doing that, dude.
I don't know. I ain't seen them. Anyway, sorry.
It's all good.
But yeah, I don't have the same, like, I know that there's a big, what's it called? A large group that's not defunctioning. What is it called? Deconstruction. And yeah. I don't have a problem with it, but I don't have the same sentiment. I agree. Sentiment. I think if that's how you got to process it and break it down, you got to deconstruct it. Go ahead. I think that's what you got to do. And I got to say that because it may not be fair for me to say it because I've had the ability to have the timeline of long time to cut through all the pieces and see it at different levels. Small church, big church, medium church, mega church, business side. So, maybe that is deconstruction just in a different way, but I don't have the same, like, man, everything about the church is just bad and evil. It's done because it goes deeper than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's foolishness to think about anything, especially when you have seen so many good things come of something,
Yeah.
You can't discount the whole thing.
That's what some like to do. I think it's easier. It's easier to do that. It's easier to do that, especially if you got messed up. If you got hurt, you feel righteous, and I hate that word, but you feel righteous in to burn the building down. Sometimes some of that stuff be making you want to burn the building down. The first time I experienced that, I remember I was working in youth, and I wasn't a parent, but I was working in youth, and one of our friends, I'm not gonna say his name, but basically his mom was saying, like, they were handing out Red Bulls at youth service,
Uh-huh.
right? I ain't see nothing wrong with it. I'm like, it's a Red Bull. I don't know. I don't drink it, And, me being the way I am, I didn't, I was thinking like, it's just a drink, right? But I remember
Yeah.
a mom saying, Duce, I know I know you do good for the kids, but they're giving kids Red Bulls. You don't see anything wrong. They're giving kids Red
She's not
Bulls.
wrong, dude.
And I was like, that day I was like, oh shoot, that should be the responsibility of the person that's older to know, like, hey, why are we giving kids Red Bulls? So doing a little Google search, what is in Red Bull? Yeah, man, you shouldn't be giving kids Red Bulls, you know.
Yeah.
And so like that's that balance. Like it was bringing kids into the church, right? It was lit, and all the kids were coming in and playing Xbox, having Red Bulls, and it brought kids off that would never come in. But then the other side is like, okay, where's the responsibility from the adult, the oldest person that's supposed to be running it, to know like, oh, you know what, I made a mistake. We're not gonna do Red Bulls. I know it's cool, but we ain't gonna do Red Bulls, and let me talk about it. That's what I think church could be, but at that time I just played dumb, just played dumb,
Yeah.
you know. But that's the first time I saw like hurt.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. But it was made like, okay, this is a minor. This is a minor. And this is their parent saying they have a problem, and it wasn't addressed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That was my first like that memory of that. Of me.
Right. How old were you when that happened?
19?
Dang.
Yeah, 19, 20 maybe. It couldn't have been 21. Couldn't have been 21.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're still in that whole world of like, I don't know how to handle adults yet, but I'm kind of an adult.
Yeah, man. I'm getting paid, and I'm getting paid to work at church, man.
Yeah. 100%.
So, wow, a lot of things I learned. It was great. I'm glad I learned it.
Yeah. That was a good breakdown.
I mean, I know those are bottom tier questions, but I think, the humanistic side of it is important. Like if people kind of forget that stuff because they go into the spiritual thought, they go into theology, dogma, they want to jump right there. They want to talk about what they heard, someone talk about. I understand all that. I understand how deep. If you want to go all the way to the Septuagint, how deep you want to go. You want to go Emerald Tablets, where you want to go. I'll go there with you. But then I just come back to like reality.
Yeah.
It's someone right in front of you. But that's where you were going. Or you want to? I don't know if I took you off course.
No, that's good. I don't know if we want to continue with that, or do you want me to kind of break down where I've been from with all that?
Yeah, usually when I want to hear, I always like hearing your, where you come from, your thoughts on it, because I still don't know. You haven't told me the whole thing about how you grew up in church. I only know a little bit about it.
Okay, so similar story. Dad was a pastor for pretty much like 17 years growing up. That's what I knew. Small town pastor. It was kind of weird, like just looking back, because it was such a small town that my dad was kind of like a celebrity there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize these things till you're older. You kind of just took it for granted. But if you would go somewhere in the town and someone would find out your last name, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're Rex's son."
Oh, okay.
It's like, how do you know me? Oh, your dad's pastor of the little church here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah. I mean, there was only like 2 in the town, and one was like in and out of being functional. It'd be shut down for a year, and then someone would start it back up. And so I grew up in that, and then kind of when I came into like working with church and doing stuff with church was when I kind of was a part of a team that started a youth group that went from 6 kids to over 300
Oh,
kids.
you had exponential growth. Okay.
Oh yeah, it was wild though. Like people from towns nearby were coming over. You know, it was right around the time that like United We Stand album came out, and so we were playing those down. You know, oh man, we were going crazy. So we're like, let's start a band. Let's get some music on the stage. We got this young guy that's gonna give us a message, and we put Xboxes in the church, you know, all kinds of stuff. Like we just did it like we saw big churches doing it, and of course, that recipe is tested and true. You know, like it's a tried and true recipe.
Yeah.
So, of course, you know, you're gonna have people that want to go to church. You're gonna have girls that want to go to church. You're gonna have guys that want to go see the girls that go to church. And so, after that, after I saw that whole thing happen, and kind of went from just a really traditional church to like, you know, church can be exciting and fun. I started playing, you know, music at the church. I was doing guitar, kind of orchestrating a lot of the music and worship stuff. Just picking the set list and stuff. I wasn't really paid at that time, but I might as well have been. I built the stage
at your dad's church.
Yeah.
You were working for free. Oh, you were a part.
Oh yeah. Know it. Yeah, I'm a partner in the firm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Very strictly volunteer basis. But you know, I'd help build the stage and get the lights set up, and you know, just do anything we could to make the place better if we were allowed to. Because getting anything past the committee is like, you know, pulling teeth. I mean, it was hard just to get a drum set.
Not the committee.
You put the drum set in the building, bro, and they taking the cross down behind the stage, and they're gonna put you on that thing. You know,
not the committee worried about the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm good.
Yeah. I'm not mad though. No.
The board. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I got to see that aspect of it. And I was probably like 17 years old. I'd been playing in for different churches, and we'd go on like a mini tour every once in a while. We'd do like a parade or something. And I wasn't like in any type of pastoral role at that problem. I was probably in the pastoral meetings, but I was probably the one that was getting in trouble for something, you know? And kind of always trying to push the envelope. I always wanted to see things change faster than the things wanted to change. And I probably didn't have the best attitude a lot of the time, admittedly.
And this is around this is like middle school, high school time, or like?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, more high school, but yeah, around that time. But then I moved to Oregon when I was like 18, and tried to get a job at a church. Basically, the pastor was just like, "You're here all the time, so I think you should just get a job and just keep coming and doing everything you're doing." You know? And
that right there. See? That right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Sorry. I mean, he had scripture, dude. He was telling me scripture about it. Like, Paul says that people should be able to mend their own tents.
Oh.
So I was like, that makes sense. You know? All right.
See, was he mending his own tent while he was telling you to mend? Your own okay.
Yeah, that was going on.
Man,
Yeah, but just to keep. Then I went to Hillsong.
after high school.
After being in after high school, graduated, went to college for a couple years. During high school, I did like the Running Start program.
Oh yeah. I remember you said it. Yeah.
And then went down to Portland just to kind of seek my fortune, and I started working with some churches down there, and it was like, dude, these people are miles ahead of us. Like they got like 2 or 3 drum sets in the building, and it was like a good sized church. It was a good sized place, and then like an even better place started down the road called Solid Rock. And
what a Wickham? What a Wickham crew was that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So Phil and Evan would come and play like Christmas Eve services. Oh, dude, we were spoiled, dude. We were spoiled, man.
Yeah. Dang.
Oh, and they had such a good like set of teaching pastors. Like they were on point. Like it was the best church that I might still to this day have seen in my career. It's called a Jesus Church now.
Okay.
It's still probably packed. But anyways, I went there, met my wife, got married. Then, she encouraged me that we should go over to Hillsong. Went over there, put in almost 3 years, graduated, went back, worked for like a mid-sized church in West Virginia, Maryland area. Did that for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Ran out of money, and then kind of came back. Tried to look around to see what was good with the church world, and I don't know. It just didn't seem like a lot of people were hiring, and there wasn't a lot of churches that I was excited about. And I was kind of in a space where I was like, I don't want to get back into this if I'm passionate about it, unless I'm passionate about it because I feel like the place I'm in is not going to help anyone. And that's what I'm trying to do. So
I got you.
Yeah. Not really accomplishing it. So that's when I got, set my eyes on getting into some kind of career, and that's where I'm at today.
Yeah, man. All these journeys, sometimes I always wonder, those who kind of see young men or young people and they don't give them the advice like, hey, man, this could be it, but there's other things, so prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some rough lessons along the way for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know what you wanted to bring up with church stuff, but I always know that you always said like your whole intention, like you just wanted to do something that you're passionate about and you care about people. I remember you talking about that even when we was in Australia, bro. Like that was kind of your whole point. And I seen the way you served on the what's it called? The team, I keep saying Two Hills. It's not Two Hills, but with the twins. What's the name?
The twins.
The twins. The pastors. They're twins. And they ran the crew. The like that went out and helped everybody. I forgot what it's called.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Scott Allen and Street Teams.
Street Teams.
I love Street Teams, dude. I'll be honest with you. That was some of the most fun I've ever had in church, hands down.
But
I mean, we weren't really in church, but we were doing church stuff. What the church
but that's
should
what I'm
be.
saying. I remember you doing that because you cared about like how to help people, right?
Yeah.
Building that youth center and all that stuff. Like, oh man, I'm gonna take it on my shoulder to get this thing built, so youth can come and have a place to come and play video games and all that. And you know, I knew what the game was, but that passion I think you're talking about is something that you're asking what the church need. I think that may have been washed out by church corporatism, you know? That those passionate people sometimes get pushed to the side because they don't fit the agenda of, you know, Sunday service, Sunday role. And you know, church hiring. I don't know how deep you got into it. I don't know how it was when your dad was a pastor, but you know, to get hired, you got to come like you bring an asset. You know, like you're an asset man.
Well, in my experience, it was a lot of like you had to be related to somebody. You know.
Oh yeah, that game too.
Which is kind of tiring, but I also understand it. You know. And family's going to be around a long time. You know, it's easier to work with family sometimes, I guess, in a church setting, just by how it's set up. But I never had... yeah, go ahead.
No. But you seem a little bummed out about it. Like okay, when you got back from Hillsong, right? Same thing. When I got back from Hillsong, I was working right away. I jumped aside of the church. But I got a little like you know that we did the day we did Rihanna Diamonds in the Sky as a feature song. I got a little righteous, like, man, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to, like, I thought we were trying to do something bigger, man. Like, you know, why are we playing Rihanna? I like Rihanna. She fine, right?
They played "Take Me to Church" in my church, and they didn't even look at the lyrics. But they put it on the screen, and I was like, you guys are not even paying attention to, like, what this song is saying.
Bro, all that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like when we got back, we went to go see, I left to go learn something. I learned something, but then I learned a lot of things. I learned the power of the organization, all that stuff, what it can do, all these different, you know. But then when I got back, I was like, man, why are we singing? We don't even have to sing Rihanna.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know if I agree with that right now anymore. But, you know, it's my views are different on that now. But I was kind of like bummed out. And that's what made me look for when I went to the next church. It was like a church that's fired up and passionate about making good music, Christian music, and that's all we need, you know. And that blew and grew, you know, was infectious in the city of Miami, downtown, Wynwood, all those areas, right?
Yeah.
But I know, like, when you got back, like, I think that's when you start seeing the cracks in the church. You know, I know a lot of people who had cracks at Hillsong. You know, they started cracking for them there. Yeah. So I didn't know. You know, I didn't know where you wanted to take it, but
I mean, kind of right here. Like, this is a good spot. I mean, I was definitely bummed when I got back. Like, when I had to get into a career, it's kind of like what you say about like art.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it's suffering right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I wasn't the only one. Like, after I kind of got out of the ministry and got into like a career job, that was when I think like the big exodus really started, was like right around the same time where people were just like, I'm done with this. Like, the big organizations,
yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, dude, coming back, like, trying to get a job was just, it was so tough. Like, you would just, I felt like I was one of those guys sitting in a hall at a law firm trying to get a job, and everyone's got like the suit, the tie, the briefcase, the resume, and
wait. They got the skinny jeans, boots, plaster,
100%,
the haircut, you know, everything, and a beanie.
I had to go clothes shopping just to apply for church. Like, I didn't get it, you know, and it wasn't like a welcoming crowd either. Like everyone was cutthroat for like a position. Like if you were, people would be really nice to you, and then they're like, oh yeah, you're trying to get that. They find out you're trying to get a job, or you're talking to the pastor. He invited you out to like talk about a job, and I mean, just their whole persona would change into this like, what do you do? Where are you from? Oh yeah, this and this Hillsong. Wow. And then it's just like their whole demeanor would change, not for the better.
Yeah.
It would kind of be like, almost like you're stepping on their turf or something. And I'm like, this person's already on staff or well in the church. Like, I don't want to fight this culture to be here. It's just not, it wasn't very accepting, but I didn't look as much as I probably could have. But I kind of just think everything was just taking me in a different direction. Like, I think it was time for me I had my time of observing what was going on.
Yeah.
And then I needed to transition into making sure my family was provided for and protected first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And if a church could provide that for me, that was fine. But it just hadn't been that way for my experience,
Yeah. No.
The pay was definitely an issue in my career. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like,
yeah,
I'm a little bit burned out, and everybody in the family's kind of.
Yeah. Like back to what we were talking about in the beginning, like it comes to a point where some families it work for and some families it don't. And the pay still don't change. It's the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, even for me, I told you when coming back from Hillsong, I landed right into work. Literally, when I got back, well, I was preparing before I left Hillsong. Like, I knew how the job thing worked in churches. I knew what the whole system was, and I was like, okay, I'm headed back in this time. Then let me try to line something up right now because I know how it is. But even when I got back, I think that I created something that's going to go down in history from my creative idea because I was frustrated at what was already going on at church, like the creative part. Let's do something creative. Man, it'd be great if we got, people to worship. Nah, we got to do something big. And then from out of frustration, this is what hit me. A lot of times in church, I would play dumb. My dad's a theologian. My dad is a deep, so, understanding what's supposed to happen in church was not foreign to me. I didn't have to think, or the pastor's message was never like, wow, this guy gave something deep. It was more like, okay, I know why he gave it. He's making sure that people can still hear the word of God and all that stuff, but understand, simple. But when I got back, I remember out of frustration, we was trying to create something for Christmas. And then I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it.
Yeah. You know what? They want something crazy? Let's do it. I'm going to go the first thing on top of my head. I go robots. We got to do robots, right? We're going to do a robotic Christmas.
You have to do a robot.
Bro, from that idea, birthed something that people were proud of, right? So I'm not trying to like discount it because a lot of stuff came out of it. But from that came a robot Christmas. Oh, God, come on. Dang, man. Robot dancers at multiple campuses. Lasers, fog, smoke machine, a video intro of a robot arm coming out saying Merry Christmas, the story of a Noel dubstep song for Christmas, recorded in cinematic sliders. This is when the first slider started coming into, church, all recorded. Oh, people were proud of that thing, man. In my head, I was like, yeah, it destroyed the creative thought process for me because it came from just like, okay, you just want something crazy. You want something entertaining. I get it. And I'm not against it now. I'm not for it, but I'm just saying what it was. That's what at the time my brain was at. So coming back, I think that I experienced maybe, how to work in church, what you need to do to work in church. But it wasn't what I thought the church was aiming to do.
Yeah.
At that time, that's what I thought. So yeah, I had some stuff to face, and I tried to make changes to go after what I thought would be better. I don't think I was correct. I think searching enough, I had already got the answer, but I was just trying to think that, man, it could change. And that tears you up.
What was your idea that you wanted to do besides the robot?
The first idea was like, hey, I just came back from this place. We don't have to do anything crazy. We have the most amazing band. Like, we could do amazing worship music. We can
make a moment.
We can make it like nice. Like, we don't have to do it. We got everything. This is a huge church, man. I don't know how many people on a weekend come there. Was it 10? I don't know how many thousands,
Yeah.
I think people will be craving this. I think people will enjoy it, but it just wasn't the brand of that church. It just wasn't the brand of that church. And this is after seeing people that I, know and care about get exited and leave and, move on to other things. But that's just the brand that the church was about. And now that I look back on it too, I'm saying like, yeah, I'm glad that I left. I'm glad that I left, and I was honest about it. I think people don't like it when you're honest, but I was like, I'm not gonna hate. I'm not gonna tear down. I never say anything bad about it. I'm not gonna tear the church down. But it just wasn't what I thought needed to be happening that I can do. I think them churches, they still doing it. They still have twirlers in the sky and dances, and bro, that's what keep people coming to that church. So that's why they keep doing it.
Right.
So when I came back from Hillsong, I just, I know we on the surface of it all, but this is what I think people don't step into when they want to talk about like why they left or why they changed and all that stuff.
Yeah. And there's a lot of circumstances too around why I left, but I think what's more important is why I stayed out of, at least, because we were still going to church when we got back. Like here and there, we'd go to different places, and it was fun. Mm-hmm. It was great. But as I started getting into the workforce, I was like, man, I actually have time to like talk to people who really need it. And I can go have dinner with these people. I have time, like on a, Friday, Saturday night. Like I never had time before just because I was working for church or volunteering for something. And it was taking up like all my time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's places where that's not happening, but the places where I was finding myself, it was definitely happening like that. And so I just found it really rewarding to be like sitting in a work van with someone talking about really deep stuff that, I talked to church, like we'd have meetings about having these conversations and like, what you want to do is talk to this person. And if someone comes to you, this is what you say to them. Dude, I didn't have to have a church service. I didn't have to have any of that stuff. I was cutting to the quick. Like we were getting to the meat of things, like why people were unhappy, addictions, all that stuff that church has this idea that they do. And they do help out with that some, but I was like, look, man, I got ministry right here in my backyard. Like I can help people right here. I'm offering, like, once I get through the schooling, I could offer people a service that's invaluable, like to be able to fix stuff, to be able to work on things, just to have knowledge, to consult. And then, if I want to go back into doing church and ministry in a more traditional way, I can go back and do it however I want to. I'm a pastor now. Yeah. I'm a worship leader.
Yeah.
I was paid. I did all the things that I wanted to do. I was like, I always want to be paid by a church. You did that. You tried it. I always wanted to be on staff. You did it. I want to preach every once in a while to a couple thousand people. I did that, you know, and it just didn't get me the place that I wanted. Like, I don't think that's actually what I was looking for.
Well, I think that's a fair thought. You know, like I think that the whole surface level stuff of church is what people don't want to admit. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. I
know people don't like to say this, but the church is just the front door to get you into the beginning of your relationship with, I'm gonna say, God, right? You wanna, because people are gonna dig into that so many different ways. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. But
yeah,
you know,
I think people know what you mean.
Well, yeah, I just, you know, like I think that people gave too much responsibility to the church, and the church kind of set it up that way, and it made people very dependent. And then when
I like how you put that, really.
Yeah. And then when people became dependent and the church did something very human, people got hurt. You know, when the head guy, who you thought he was pastor, whatever, end up with the secretary, you know, not everybody upset. Well, that was a man that was under how much pounds of pressure and stress, and that ain't no excuse. That's not an excuse, because he, you know, but people lift him up to that level, you know, put him under debt, put him under, you know, reviving souls of the nation, all this stuff, and you know, put him in that church environment. It's a pressure cooker for you to hurt somebody and hurt a lot of people with your decisions. And I don't think that's it's a model copying off of corporatism that it shouldn't even translate to the church. That's why I think all these churches right now are so like, yeah, we taking down the stage. You know, we ain't gonna have worship leaders. There are no more head people. You know, they're jumping to that right now as a solution.
They got to do something. I mean, you got to bail water.
Well,
sink. You know, I mean, how many people go into podcasts now? Like, I've done work on churches to put electrical in because they're doing a podcast studio and they need special lighting because, I mean, during COVID, I did a church that was like only doing podcasts. Like, they weren't allowed to have people in.
Yeah, man. I think that, I still think that the solutions that I see, I mean, is still kind of like, I still think they've fallen behind. I still think like they have a generation, this next like generation that's Z or Alpha, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that they're gonna be some of the hungriest spiritual people that there are.
Yeah.
Because they got the information world already. They got the information. They know how to look it up. You know, they're gonna use technology, or they grew up around technology. But I think that spiritual element is gonna be such a need because it's really a part of the human experience. And I think churches have despiritualized church and made spiritualism 5 minutes of worship, right? And I hate to sound churchy, but I think the whole thing is like, it's misconstrued. I think you need it all. I think you need churches that are the entertainment, because some people need that at that time in their life. But they shouldn't rag on the church that's doing traditional, because some people need traditional studying. I need to learn what this God is, what it means, how do I research it. You need that. The church spends so much time like saying that this one is wrong or this one is right, when it should be one big harmonized global string system where we understand the whole purpose is for humans to develop better. Think about what that could make.
Oh yeah.
What kind of humans would come out of that if it was actually like, bro, we're not fighting each other, we developing something.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. I think to add to that, like, I see the same thing. I see the different sizes of churches will almost always have their place. Like, you look at Hillson Conference, you know, the way that the volunteers is treated is questionable for sure. I mean, if you go to Hillsong Conference, you might want to give that person that's seating you, you might want to let them sit in your seat for a minute because they've been working for like 14 hours straight. You know?
It's massive, bro. It's a massive organization, bro.
I know, and it's hard to like make sure everyone is taken care of. Like,
Yeah.
I get all those things, and I'm not trying to talk badly about it, but but Hillsong Conference is amazing. Like, I'll go back to Hillsong Conference just to watch. You know,
Yeah.
you can't get the show like that. That thing is something to see. But I think what I saw missing a lot of the time, and I think kind of what I would like to see happen with the church, is for it to go smaller. You know?
Okay.
I'm not saying let's take down the big buildings. They need to burn. We need to, you know, go in there with pitchforks and root them out. I'm just saying people need to form tight communities with friends. I don't even know exactly how it looks like, but little groups of 10, 12 people, you know, have different sets of skills than other people in the group, have something that bonds you together. You know, I'd like to see that type of stuff. People have always been talking about that in church, of like the early church was the way of church. And it's like, I think community, like these young people keep saying the word community. I don't think they're wrong about it. I mean, they kind of were the ones that brought it to my attention, is like, we need community. We need community. I'm like, yeah, that's what I miss a lot about church, is having a community. And the bigger church you get into, I mean, there's communities within those, but you kind of just get lost in the wave. You get lost in the ocean of people.
Well, I mean, the guy created it. What's his name? I forgot the guy. There's the were small groups. That's where that whole model came from. I forgot the guy's name. The church is in the Philippines. I forgot exactly
the official word small groups.
Yeah, like,
oh wow.
Like, not he didn't create the word small groups, but he created a system of small groups. So he's the one that created, like, we have a large church, so it's going to be responsibility for one person to have 10 people, and then another person has 10 people. When you leave that group, you get 10 people. That was his idea. He started it, and then it grew his church massively. Then it hit the American system, and the American system branded it the way corporate style. You know, these are called small groups. And what a small group is, that, you know, Sally is going to have 10 people, but, you know, I'm the pastor, so we're going to take my special course, and then all the small groups are going to do exactly what I say. You know, we're going to keep total branding control from this, and that's where the whole small group thing came in. But
I mean, that's why I'm not going to go on here and like say like, this is how you do it. One, because I don't.
One. Yeah.
No, you have to like naturally kind of find your people. You know, is how I haven't even done this yet myself, so I don't really have any room to talk. I'm just saying that's kind of where I'd like to see it go, and that's what I'm trying to do, is build something like that for my church, you know, outlet, because I think I still need that in some way. It just doesn't look the same.
You know, I told someone this. I mean, I had a meeting with someone. I mean, last time I was on the phone with a pastor.
Yeah.
For arguments happening online that I didn't know I was in an argument.
Go on.
Yeah. Everybody got mad because I said, "Hey man, you need some help." Why you always got a problem?
Yes, I remember.
You
these
gonna say that to my face? No, you wouldn't. Anyway, but I remember saying, like, I have come to the point where I realized that, like, resource is a part of this thing, because if you want to bring people, you got to have something to bring them to. You know, and you got to be able to bring them. Like, I watch some people who have a lot of money. You know, down in South Florida, sometimes people have a lot of money. That's people who use it to party, and some people who use it to help people. And I think that if you can't have people come into your space and not ask anything of them, you can't necessarily give them what you're talking about, that type of help, that type of, like, teaching and resonance, because I've seen that, like, I think about a monk, a monk that goes into some type of monastery or wherever. Montessori. Yeah, it's stuck in my brain.
We dads, bro. It's okay.
But when he's going in, it might be something required of him later, but everybody around him, is thinking about the same thing. The food is prepared for him. He might have to go help prepare it, but that food is being shared and prepared for everyone. They're not, the thing is there that's taking care of them. They're not worried about outside influence, No. And I think, so I'm in that place where, like, I'm like, man, I need a resource. If I want to do the right thing, I need a resource. So I don't got to depend on, no one's dollar. I don't have to depend on no one's income. I don't believe in the tithe thing. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
No, it's a comedy podcast, bro. It's all jokes,
bro. You that 10%. You know what I'm saying?
That's the best one ever. That's the punchline.
Yeah, get that 10%.
It's biblical.
Ooh.
No. It's not. Another time.
Yeah, too much. You're going too fast. But I think that until you can, like, take someone in without expecting something in return.
Yeah.
And that's not a part of any of your purpose. It gets tricky, man. It gets convoluted, And I know you got to run your church, and I know, all that stuff. I understand the financial part. I understand the 501c. I understand how the American government works. All that stuff, right? I mean, I'm talking about, specifically in America, but I think that for those who want to make a change, it's going to take those with resource, and that's my thought. I know people probably won't agree with it, but that's kind of where I'm at. That's what I'm coming down to. Like, if I want someone to come in and train, I want them to learn and be the best. They can't be worried about where they're going to live, what they're going to eat, how they're going to provide for their family, because that's human to me. Human come in my space, they can't be worried about that stuff. Mm-hmm. I want them to be the best. They're going to need to have time to do that. It's the only way. Not the only way, but you can get something very high to come out of that.
Yeah, and I think I completely agree with you, and I think that's kind of been the reason why I benched myself, or I put myself on the bench, or whatever, God, the universe, whatever you want to say.
He said universe, bro.
I mean, that's
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that's out there, I believe that's part of. I'm here to, like, sit down, think about what I just did, think about what I accomplished there, think about what I'm doing now, all the people that I helped, all the people that I've talked to, and I can go from there. I don't have any pressure on myself anymore where I have to do one thing or I have to do the other.
Yeah.
Or, I like talking to you. I like talking to people that I work with. I like looking at interesting things. I like reading books that are not just Christian books. Mm-hmm. I like reading books on money. I like reading sci-fi books. Mm-hmm. I like, matter of fact, I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad coming up. It's not, it's just a financial book. Mm-hmm. And, I think it's freed me up, because I was so much in the bubble that I needed something to get me out of that and just shake me up and realize, like, hey man, all these worldly people that I was constantly hearing about that are so evil and, terrible, they're sometimes more honest than people that are deeply embedded in a religion on how little they know and They're very generous. They're very kind. Very nice.
Yeah.
Some of the best people I've worked with aren't religious at all.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And